Hi, everyone, and welcome. Today's an exciting day. For the first time ever, we're giving you an inside look into AMCS Lite, the free multi-entity accounting solution for D365 finance and supply chain. I'm Aaron Klein, the marketing director here at Avantico, and joining me today is our featured speaker, Microsoft D365 finance consultant, Yannick Schuler. Now, like I said, today's session is all about how you can streamline D365 accounting operations with AMCS Lite for free. And Yannick will dive into the details shortly, but before we jump into today's session, I'd love to share with you some of the exciting webinars and in-person events that we have coming up. First, on March 6, 10 a.m. Pacific, we'll be hosting What You Need to Know, Microsoft D365 Update 10.043. Join us to explore the most important updates and enhancements for Microsoft D365 Finance and Supply Chain, learn about the 2025 One Version update cadence, and see some of the most exciting new updates in action, plus a live Q&A. Then on March 18th, 10 a.m. Pacific, join us for Optimizing Approvals with Power Automate Workflows. Learn how you can streamline your approval processes and minimize licensing costs with Power Automate Workflow approvals, routing these approvals directly to Teams, Outlook, or custom Canvas apps. And finally, for those of you in the logistics space or the Chicago area, we do have a booth at ProMat 2025. This is a massive logistics center trade show from March 17th to 20th. Attendance is free, and we would love to see you there. I'll put registration links for all these events in the chat. They'll also be available on our website and within this slide deck. And then one last note, as we go through this presentation, do not hesitate to pop any questions you have into the chat. I will try to relay these to Yannick in a timely manner, but of course, there will be an open Q&A at the end of the presentation. And with that, Yannick, if you'd like to take it away, it's all you.
Thank you so much, Aaron. It is really nice to be here today with you all. And a welcome from my side as well. My name is Yannick Schuler, and I'm a functional consultant here at Avantico. My history or employment history goes back to KPMG, where I mostly worked with SAP, and then I transferred to Microsoft itself, where I worked as a technical specialist. Jumped between a few partners here and there, and now joined Avantico, and I'm very happy to have you here all today and talk about AMCS Lite. Before we jump into the actual presentation, let me quickly go over the agenda for today. So what we'll talk about, and we spend a little bit of time in this slide deck before we actually jump into a product demo. So I'll talk about what AMCS contains, what the Lite features are, and then one very important message, who AMCS Lite is actually for. So after we conveyed that point, we're going to jump into a demo where I will split it in two separate parts. The first part is to show you how AMCS Lite is set up within the system, and then also talk about the functionalities that we went over here in a little bit. After that, we'll get into the slide deck again, talk a little bit about how you can install it, how simple it is to install it, what the timeline looks like, what support documents you get from us, and so on and so forth. At the end of it, if time permits, we'll also answer any of your questions and send you on your way with the download link. All right. Before we jump into the features, maybe a quick summary, and I'm sure you all know Avantico, but it always helps to kind of refresh the memory here. And we are an exclusive Microsoft partner. And with that being said, we focus primarily on very complex Dynamics finance and supply chain implementations. And kind of out of those scenarios is what our ISV solutions got developed out of. So we do have three different ISV solutions, 3PL Automation Cloud. Steve, my very awesome colleague, talked about that last week. So if you do have interest in that, go look at that recording. But we also have our advanced multi-company solution. And a spin-off out of that is our Lite solution that I'm going to be talking about today. So guiding your attention a little bit back to the map here, what we can see is that we have a global presence of customers. We do focus on North American customers, but as you can see, we have a large presence in Europe and even Australia and South America as well. All right, with that being said, let's talk about AMCS Lite. AMCS Lite is our advanced multi-company solution and the light version of this. And what we are trying to do or helping you to do with this solution is reduce the manual workload your accounting team is facing. And core point of this and what we made sure is that all of those features that you see here at the bottom are embedded within D365. So all your accountants do not have to jump interfaces. It's fully integrated into your workspaces, your modules. So we will see here in a minute how that looks in the system. But first of all, let's talk a little bit about the key features. The very first one, and I think probably most important one, is our so-called super journal. Our super journal is a global staging table that is accessible through all of your legal entities, and it's a staging table for all the imports or the journal imports that you do. So once you import them, you can access them, and we'll actually talk about the automation piece within that here in a little bit, and I'll show you how to do that, how to automate the posting of those journals. Along that way, what Avantico has done is integrate some enhanced import validations. And with that being said, we integrated an error log that has some enhanced capabilities. So previously, what we have seen is that you had to go through thousands of lines of imports, and if one of those was faulty, then you'd have to kind of find the needle in the haystack. Whereas our solution clearly points out where the error is and actually shows you what the error is, and you can fix it within your super journal. So this already eliminates a huge chunk of your workload just by pointing out where the errors are and what the errors are. Then simplified postings. This is the automation piece. So if you want, you can import a journal or multiple journals within an Excel file and process it automatically. So with basically one click, you can post across how many legal entities you want. If it's 2, 3, or 1,000, it does not matter with our solution. And I'll showcase that here in a little bit. The last functionality I want to guide your attention to is actually quite interesting, and I'm very excited to talk about it because it's only been part of AMCS Lite here for just a little bit. We just recently added that to the functionalities within the product, and that's the global workflow functionality. So if you are facing workflow issues, what you can do with AMCS Lite is set up a global workflow that's sitting on top of all your legal entities and can therefore approve your journals on a global level. All of these functionalities you can gain with an installation process of maybe 4 hours, maybe a little bit longer. But I want to highlight, it's not an implementation, it's an installation. You download the code and we'll help you set it up. And how we do that, I'm going to talk a little bit about here in a minute after we actually see the product. All right. This is the slide I want to guide your attention to specifically. And this is who is AMCS Lite for? And in the design of our product, we actually put a lot of focus on it and wanted to convey the message very clearly. So who is it for? First of all, of course, for implementation partners. In every single implementation that you face, you also face some sort of journal import. And as our product owner, Dan McAllister, usually says, the standard functionality within, or the journal imports within D365 are not very nice, and that's very nicely put. We offer you a solution that's better, faster, and less complicated to set up. You won't have to do any customization. You just install it, and you have a way better working journal import framework than the standard can ever give you. It also comes in handy when you do data migration. So you can use Lite to import into many legal entities with a single click, and therefore speed up your data migration, and your product or your bids for projects become way more competitive. The second piece is also important for customers. So if you're live or if you're going live, this solution can come in very handy, just because you can import journals into many legal entities with singular clicks. You can make use of our workflow automation as well, queue up journals for approval, and create those journals and approve them on a global level as well.
Hey,
So, yes.
Anwar popped a question in, and I mean, I think it's pretty simple for you to answer. Is it an ISV solution? The answer is yes. But then, how about, he's curious about the user license, and I think maybe you go over it later, but I just figured I'll let you know.
So we'll actually see how the license key is dropped. But in terms of licensing, and this kind of answers the next question, why should you install it? It's free. So once you request the download, we'll just basically send it to you. You can install it for free. We'll actually send you a tutorial how to install it, what you need to set up for it to work best. And again, no customization is needed. It's easy to install, and therefore you have a super quick value add. I hope this answers your questions. And again, I will actually start now to go through the actual setup. All right. Let's see. Now, this is my typical user interface. You've seen this probably multiple times. We're in here in a demo environment with Contoso data, and I have super admin rights, therefore, lots of different workspaces. Avantico does start with an A, so we have the advantage of being at the very top. If I go over here to my modules, what I can see is what I've mentioned earlier. The Avantico multi-company solution is completely embedded within my D365 environment. So if I click on here, this menu opens up, and as I said, we're going to walk through the setup just to convey the message that the setup is super easy, super quick. With that being said, if I can do it, you can probably do it 10 times faster than me. So the first thing that we do need to do is go over here to my setup menu, click on shared parameters, and you will get a license key from us that you need to drop in here, validate it, and then the solution is handled in the lifecycle management. And sorry, in the feature management, excuse me. And within that, you can then enable and disable certain functionalities. Of course, there's some dependencies, but overall, it's handled through that. After that, you come over here to the number sequences, where you do have to set up certain number sequences so you can identify the journals that you do import. You can kind of disregard the bottom half of here. We'll focus on this identification key right here. If I click on here, you can see I have the possibility to have alphanumeric options. I can also add constants as well. So you do have a unique identifier of what the journals are named once you import them. With that being said, I'm going to remove this. And excuse me. What I wanted to additionally say, and we'll talk about this at the end of the presentation as well, you can see different kinds of journals here at the bottom, trade agreements, budget allocation, and so on and so forth. Those are part of our premium version, so I'll not go into detail right now, but of course, at the end, we do have some time to answer some questions about that as well. All right, for the next part in your setup, so after I've set up my number sequences, I can come in here and set up journal names. For that, I go through my ledger journal, go into the setup section down here, and go to my journal names. Now I select my general journal because that's part of the AMCS Lite version. And what I can see is that I have different options right here. Now, how this works is we do match the journal name here to the journal name within your general ledger module. And why do we do that? Is because we can set up some default behavior in here as well. So if I click on my edit function, I can show you the drop-down menus that are included in here. Earlier in the presentation about the functionalities, I talked about automatic processing. And this is the cool automation part that I was mentioning earlier. We have 5 different steps. So once you import a journal file, this is how you set up the default behavior, what is going to happen to this file. There's 5 different options, as I said. You can have it in the open function that only stages the journal lines into my global staging table. So it just imports it. It does not create a journal or transfers it to any legal entities. The second one also does not create any journals. It imports it into the global staging table, so it's accessible, and then it also checks for calls. So are my dimensions correct? Are my periods open, and so on and so forth. If there are any errors, then the system points them out as well. We'll see how that looks like in just a minute. Now, if I set the default for transfer lines, what happens is the file gets imported, the lines get checked, and then journal gets created in my respective legal entities and then transferred. The validate journal is your standard validation process within D365, and then the posting journal would be all of those steps combined, and then the post of the journal within its respective legal entity. All right. I also have the possibility to attach my journal file to the different journals. And if I got your attention to the attachment section over here, I also have the possibility to copy those to the different legal entities. Now, in terms of storage, it's not like we copy the entire file to all of the different legal entities. That would kind of ruin your storage space very quickly. So what we do is reference the file, and it will actually just take you back to the initial import. We also offer the possibility to process journals in batch. So if you do have 10,000 journal lines and you don't want to process them immediately, you can always send them or process them in a batch process. I also have the possibility to select certain fields that are mandatory. And then I do have the possibility to set up global workflow. So we do support global workflow, and this is how you set it up over here. There's 2 separate scenarios. As I said, we do work with a global workflow that works if the journal itself is global by nature. So lots of journals are created in different legal entities. Then you can define the workflow here at a global level. We do also work with workflows that are locally based. So if you do import journals here, and it gets transferred to all the different legal entities. What we can do is automatically submit them to its respective workflows within the legal entities. And then once they're approved, you can come back into your global staging table and approve them or post them from there. So both of those scenarios work within our solution. All right. So in terms of setup, this is the second to last point. The only setup that I do want to talk about is my different dimensions. I do have to map my dimensions, and how we do that is quite simple. As you can see here, I have 4 different dimensions, and the company for the first 3 are empty, which means in this scenario that for all my legal entities, dimension 1 through 3 are the same. So for dimension 1, I have business unit, dimension 2 is department, dimension 3 is cost center. And for dimension 4, what I can see is that for all my legal entities, it's item group, except for USP2 and USPI, then it seems to be product group. And this is kind of how we designed this. All right, so far so good. This is basically all you do have to set up for AMCS Lite to work. And with that being said, let's look at the solution, how it works in action. So if I come here, collapse them all, I will come here into my global staging table that I've been talking about. And this is how it looks. So it stores every single import that I do and that different people do across all my legal entities. I do have the possibility to import my ledger files and my journal imports. And how I do that is I follow certain templates. And those templates can be created. Let's see. Over here. Those are all the templates that come out of the box with the premium version. The template that the AMCS Lite version will come with looks similar to this. And the beauty of this is that you can create your own template within this interface. So by stating this, what I can see is that I have certain key columns that I can select, and that will always be included. And then I can also manually select certain fields that I want to have included within my template. So I can deselect certain things, I can include certain things, and what this will do is that I then can export my template, let's say, into an Excel spreadsheet. And here it also gives me the option of what I want to export. I can then select that I only want the key columns that are selected here, the ones that I personally included, or just every single thing. So if I click on export right here, the template will be created and it will look something like that. If I decide, okay, certain fields are not relevant for me, what I can do is just simply delete them, because our solution does not look at the cadence or the sequence, I should rather say, of those headers, but just at the name of the headers. All right. Now let's actually do an import and see how that works. Again, I can do this through my global staging table. I can go over here to functions, import the GL file. The name I have previously named it is general journal. And I can see the default I set up for this was transfer lines. I will actually go over here and change this to check lines. And from then on, I can check my file. I will import it right here. it will actually give me a warning if I have already imported the file before. So this is a security measurement that we implemented. For now, I can of course disregard this. Now this will get imported and it will run through the check line stage as well. So I can see the journal import right here, the journal name, and the status of this. So it says the lines are checked, which means every single line seems to work out. If I go in here, I can see what this journal entails. I can see I have several different companies in play. I have my DEMF company and my USMF company and some transactions within their companies. And then it seems to be that there's also an intercompany transaction over here as well between the German and the US company. So what does this mean? Everything seems to be checking out, dimensions seem to be okay, and so on and so forth. So what I can do then is go over here and transfer those to the respective legal entities. So while I do that, I can click OK, and we do have security measures implemented here as well. So someone who does not have access to, let's say, the German company will be able to transfer those journals. So the creation of the journals is okay, but will never be able to host the journals. So I can click OK. What that means is that the journals will be transferred and created within those legal entities. Now I can see in my global staging table that those journals have been transferred. And what I can do now is, if everything checks out, I can go ahead and validate it or host it. And again, security measures are implemented here. I have access to all of these legal entities, so it allows me to post those. Now, once those are posted, what I can always do is come in here. Again, this is my global staging table. I can click on details here at the bottom, and I can open the journal that has been created. And what this does is it will actually take me to the German company, and I have access to the journal that has been created. It gives me all the details that I want. Okay, so this is the process, how it works if everything does check out. Let's actually import one journal that is faulty and see what happens then. So I again come over here. It's the exact same process. I'll change this to check lines again. I select my file and import this one as well. We disregard the warning again, click OK, and see what happens. All right, so what happens is I get an error message up here, or a warning message. And if we remember correctly, last time what happened, I got the message, the status message that the lines were checked. Now it actually tells me they're still open. So with that being said, I can come in here and I can see, okay, there is errors in 2 of those different journal lines. The rest seems to be checked out. So what I can do is I can come over here, click on my errors, and this is the error log I was talking about earlier, and it will tell me, company DMF, dimension D4, value audio RM is not valid for the item group. Okay, so what I can do is then come here, check my dimensions, and if I know what the right audio item group is, I can come in here and select this, come back to the list, rerun this, but we still have one additional error that we do need to check. So let's do that before we submit it again. And again, it seems to be an error right here in the dimension. But it still has the other one selected. That is why. So the arrow here is different. 6 is not a value that is cost center. So if I come in here, I know that it is 7. So I can fix it within the system. It's actually 007, I believe. Yeah. And save it. And then what I can do is come in here and check the lines again. Check the lines for all of those, and the errors should be resolved. And as I can see, the status is now lines checked. Now, this is the process of fixing it within the system. I can, of course, always go back into my actual journal that I've imported, delete this import because, it's a global staging table. Nothing has happened. No journals have been created yet. So I can come in and delete this, fix the data within my Excel spreadsheet, and then import it again. If there is another arrow, I can also see that within the import log as well. But those are the two processes that we do support. And yeah, so once those lines are checked, I can go through my typical workflow. I can transfer it to my companies. If they do need to go through workflow, I can do that as well, and then post them globally through here. All right. This is the functionalities within my AMCS Lite module. So if there are no current questions, I'll give you some time to think about that and actually come back to my PowerPoint and talk a little bit about more how you download it and how that process looks like. All right, let me swap this real quick and we will go to the implementation timeline. As I said, it's a very straightforward and easy process. We've done it in the past and it takes, as I said, 4 to 8 hours. The installation is straightforward. We'll drop the code package to you after you request the download. The configuration takes about an hour or so that I walked you through if you have to set it up. Then we actually provide you with some training. We do have, of course, onboarding documents that will help you. There's tutorial videos, there's customer testimonials, and Avantico actually throws in an extra consulting hour that is for free, that you have access to. Then you do have custom imports that you need to implement. And once all of this is tested, you can promote it to your production system. All right, a little bit more about what I just talked about. The most important feature is the installation guide. We do have a video tutorial again that walks you through the setup that I just walked you through as well. A little bit more detailed, a little bit more an actual setup video where the environment is not set up. So it'll look very similar to your environment as well. And then we also offer training sessions. We also have documents which you can rely on in terms of support. And then we also always have the possibility for our AMCS expert to help you as well. And again, one additional time, we do offer this free consulting hour with our AMCS experts if you do need it. And so every single person that downloads AMCS Lite will have access to that as well. Okay, this is what AMCS Lite entails. We did make certain references to AMCS Premium. So I would like maybe 3 to 5 minutes at the very end to dedicate to the AMCS Premium version. And just to give you a quick overview, what this entails, is extended functionalities. You still have access to our super journal. Additionally to importing general journals, what you will have access to is free text invoices, budget register entries, trade agreements, and so on and so forth. So that package is just a little bit bigger. And what we also include within the premium functionalities is legal entity creation. So of course, that's a functionality that's included in the standard. However, AMCS allows you to create legal entities or hundreds of legal entities with a single import. So especially within your implementation phase, this is something that can come in handy when you do have to set up lots of different legal entities. So AMCS Premium supports you in a tremendous way. The same goes for data migration, also more so part of the implementation process. We do have a dynamic mapping functionality, which means that AMCS Premium helps you map data from your legacy systems. So you do not have to go through data transformation. AMCS helps you with that. And we have actually had customer testimonials where the data migration process got cut by 90%. So AMCS Premium helps you again tremendously in that aspect. We also have integration functionality. We do have an integration framework where we have two different types of integration that we do support. There's a one-way integration, which we mostly use for expense management systems and payroll systems. So we are able to stage the payroll data and then pull it into the global staging table and then post it across all the legal entities. Global reporting is we have a multitude of global reports that give you more visibility across all your legal entities. You can kind of select which companies you want to include in those. It's very hands-on, very easy to understand and kind of manipulate the data as well. We have a budgeting tool that kind of enhances the basic budgeting module. And then again, we also have the global workflows that are to a certain degree part of AMCS Lite as well. If you do want some more information to AMCS Premium, you can always reach out to us and we are more than welcome to walk you through the different functionalities. We also have a slide right here and a PDF document that kind of goes through the different functionalities, what is included in what, and it also compares it to the standard as well. So if you need more information to that, again, feel free to reach out to us and we're more than welcome to answer any of your questions. With that being said, it was a pleasure to host you today and talk a little bit about AMCS Lite. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here with you today. If you do have any questions right now, I'm more than welcome to answer them. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Yannick. This is Anwar. Do you mind if I speak rather typing?
Go ahead.
Thanks. It was a great presentation. Thanks for that one. The feature which you have brought up, it's really good one because a lot of customer complaints about the general functionality, the standard functionality. That is looks good, promising. I have a couple of questions. Firstly, when we are posting for multiple companies, so I have a customer which has 20 different legal entities. Now, let's say Janek has access to 5 legal entities. Aaron has access for 5 other. Now, when you are posting this using this feature, will be able to see the other remaining 15 legal entities? The data will be exposed as they don't have permission. Access control is full-fledged implemented. How it works?
So the import will be hosted in the global staging table, but let's say I won't be able to post anything in the legal entities I don't have access to. The same would go for Aaron. So I only have permission to post in those legal entities. So there we just strictly follow the D365 security protocol.
Perfect. Yeah.
Will
Sounds
answer
good.
your
Okay.
question? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks for that clarification. Another one, when you were showing the setup part, and there was in the drop down LOV values were there, where check liner were there, transaction were there, then other two are there. So what if in the setup I've selected as a check liner, and I saw when you were importing there were option to change that value. Is that so, or what we have set in the setup, that will remain as a default and cannot be changed by the user?
We can set up both ways. So you can either set it up globally and it not be able to be changed. So let's say I select check lines, and you want that to be the case for every single thing, and then we can certainly do that. So just in the quick create form that pops up on the right, we can just lock that in, so not make it a drop down menu. But we can also leave it like it is or it was in the demo, and the user being able to kind of change that. But I see your point, and we can certainly fixate it, make it a constant once you set it up globally.
Yeah. And another important question was when we are doing a global posting from let's say head office is there to 20 different legal entities, that journal journal will be posted for in the destination legal entity, or it will be still like kind of a non-posted transaction status. How would the status would be?
The status will be that it's going to be posted in the legal entity. So if you have your global staging table that I showed you, what happened in the example that I provided, the journal got posted in my US company, but also in my German company, even though I was operating out of my US company. So in this case, if you do have a global headquarter and you post it out of your global headquarter, what happens, it gets transferred to all your local legal entities. And then if you do post it and you do have permission to post it, then it will also get posted within those local legal entities.
Okay, so it cannot be like that, let's say fund transfer is there. I have a USA company. I am transferring to German. Uh, there, the person like the head of the finance, they want to review and then they want to post it.
That works. That works as well.
Possible, right?
Yeah, so in that case, we'll actually follow your local workflow. We would transfer and create a journal within that local legal entity and then submit it to your local workflow. And this local workflow entails that the local finance manager needs to review it and approve it. Then you can, of course, do that. And then you have two different options. You can either approve it locally and then post it locally, or we approve it locally and then it comes back to the global staging table and we post it from there. So those are the two options. But yeah, we would not override local workflow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Awesome. Those are good questions, though. So if you do have a customer and it's relevant for them, we're of course happy to work with you.
Certainly, yeah. I'll get back with you guys. And do you mind sharing the documentation on these features? What are the features and all that, so that my team can read it out, and if we have more questions on that, we get back to you on that.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what this is all for. We'll make sure to share all the documentation with you.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for being here. All right.
I have no more question for now. So, yep.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Yannick, Anwar, for those great questions. We'll be sending out the recording of this webinar maybe by the end of the week, definitely by start of next week, and we'll include links to all the relevant documentation. And thank you so much. We did put the links to the other upcoming webinars in the chat here, so don't hesitate to register for those. And again, we appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.